Hi, I am so glad that you're here. I want to welcome you to this free masterclass called the Four-Step Framework to Resuscitate Your Dying Marriage and Reclaim the Life that you lost inside of it. We have a lot to cover today, but before we do, I want to make sure that you're in the right place. So, this is for you if you're not sure if you're ready to give up on your marriage, but the joy and companionship that you desire has been replaced with disconnection, loneliness, and even resentment, and you're exhausted, feeling like you're the only one putting in the effort, and you've spent so many years prioritizing everyone else's needs that you're not even sure who you are or what you want anymore. And finally, this is for you if you have ever been in a marriage that sucked the life out of you and you are ready to find the path back to you so that you don't experience the same heartache, regret, and disappointment 5, 10, or even 20 years down the road. Now, this is not for you if you're not open minded to trying new things, or if you plan on watching this entire free presentation and then get massively upset when I give you the opportunity to invest in a program that offers the coaching and resources that you need to create the healthy relationship that you want to have with yourself and your partner. Now, my promise to you is that I will deliver as much value as humanly possible in this free 60-minute masterclass. Everything you'll learn has already been tested and proven to work. In return, I ask that you keep an open mind about the new information that you're going to learn today, and that you take plenty of notes so that you can begin implementing what you learn today. So, some tips for watching this masterclass. First, you'll want to get into a quiet room and silence your notifications so that you can devote your full attention to this training. You deserve this time. And I want you to treat yourself to 60 minutes of focused learning. And close your tabs and any extra apps to increase bandwidth and assure that you're not accidentally booted out for any reason. Now, during this masterclass, you'll learn 3 of the biggest mistakes to avoid when trying to improve your relationship with your partner, and my 4-step framework to resuscitate your dying marriage and reclaim the life that you lost inside of it. And for those of you who are action takers, I do have a fast acting bonus that involves some free one-on-one coaching sessions with me. So if that's something that you think you might be interested in, you'll want to stick around until the end. I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but my husband and I have fallen into the not so great habit of falling asleep to the television to help us unwind at night. We choose programs that are entertaining enough to keep our attention, but not so entertaining that we can't wait to see what happens. Strangely enough, mountain climbing documentaries fit the bill for us. While we both love nature and hiking, we're deathly afraid of heights, and you couldn't pay us $1 million to climb to the top of a mountain. Maybe you feel the same way. But they say that we'd do anything for love. So for a moment, I just want you to imagine that your child or someone that you love deeply has been kidnapped. And in order to get them back home safely, you have to climb to the top of Mount Everest. Now, clearly, there's a lot at stake, and you've never done anything like this before. And your life and now the life of your loved one is on the line. Now, let's suppose you can bring one person with you to help you get to the top. You can bring Suresh over here, who knows this mountain like the back of his hand. He's a complete expert. Not only does he live in the area, but he's climbed to the summit hundreds of times over the years. He's an absolute pro, right? Now, however, we also have, I don't know, what should we call him? We'll call him Book Smart Brandon. He majored in montology, which, if you don't know, is the study of mountains, specifically the study of physical, chemical, geological, and biological aspects of mountain regions. He's always wanted to go to Nepal and see Mount Everest, and he has brand new ropes and shiny carabiners that he's been dying to use. So he's excited to be with you on the journey and tell you about each geological feature that you see on the way to the top. Now, if you're already here watching this masterclass, I want to congratulate you because you know that Book Smart Brandon doesn't have the life experience that you're going to need to get up that mountain. You've been around the block enough to know that there are some things books can't teach you. That's likely why you have allowed me into your world. I want to be your Suresh. I am a life and relationship expert who has not only walked this mountain myself, but I've come alongside countless women just like you. And now that we have crossed paths, I want to be your guide and help you revive your relationship and rediscover the life that you lost inside of it. Getting reconnected with myself was the number one way that I saved my marriage, but it was the specific strategy that I used that made all of the difference. So, I'm a wife and a mom to three adult daughters. And when I'm not helping other women reclaim the life that they lost inside of their marriages, you can find me walking with a neighbor, friend, or family member. Last year, I turned 50 and challenged myself to go on 50 walks with 50 different people. And I enjoyed it so much that I decided to complete the challenge for the rest of my life, or as long as I'm blessed with the physical health to do so. I also have a coaching business called Heart, Mind, Soul, Strength, where I apply the strategies that revived my own marriage to empower women just like you in transforming their lives and relationships with my proven system. Now, when I first married my husband in 2011, I didn't think I needed a system. Just look at those smiles. I was certain that the passion and excitement we felt would carry us through any obstacle that we encountered. That same passion and excitement, however, translated into some pretty nasty arguments. We both came from broken homes and a previous failed marriage, so we were committed to doing whatever we had to do to save our marriage from becoming another statistic. We went to marriage counseling, read marriage books and devotions together, attended communication courses and seminars, and even signed up for weekend retreats. And things seemed to be getting better for a while. We learned about our love languages, new communication techniques, and how to set boundaries. But the head knowledge we were acquiring only went so far. As soon as we experienced hurt or disappointment, logic was thrown out the window, and our old habits would return in full force, sabotaging all of our best intentions. It was starting to seem like we brought out the worst in one another, and I didn't like who I was becoming. Every time one of us was triggered, it would somehow cause the other one to get triggered, and it felt like an endless roller coaster that we couldn't seem to get off. I started losing hope that we would ever have a healthy relationship, but I couldn't bear the shame and embarrassment of going through another divorce. The turning point came in our fifth year of marriage when my husband got into a screaming match with my oldest daughter. I remember sitting at the kitchen table, helplessly watching the scene unfold before me. I listened in horror as he threw the same insults at my impressionable teenage daughter that he had been using against me for years. In addition to feeling like I had failed as a wife, in that moment, I also felt like a complete failure as a mother for not being able to shield her from the effects of the verbal and emotional abuse that I had tolerated and participated in all of those years. When the dust settled, I asked for a separation. I was scared of what that would mean for my future, but at this point, we had tried everything and nothing was working. I knew that I couldn't continue to do the same thing and expect different results. I had become a version of myself I didn't even like anymore. Instead of focusing all my efforts into saving my marriage, I started focusing on the only thing I had the power to change, and that was myself. We stopped sharing finances, and I was making ends meet on my private teacher salary with two teenage daughters to support. Time and money were not plentiful, but I knew that if I was going to be the best version of myself for my daughters, I had to be willing to make sacrifices and do whatever I had to do to show them that I was a cycle breaker. I was not willing to settle for being even partially to blame for another failed relationship. During the first 9 months of our separation, my husband was barely putting in any effort to improve himself or work on the marriage. In fact, his behaviors actually got worse during that time. I didn't allow that to distract me, though. Instead, it served to test my resolve to respond differently. I began to see my triggered moments as opportunities for growth and healing, and I was committed to achieving that with or without him. And he started to take notice. We were separated for a full 18 months, and our marriage didn't just survive, it thrived. I reclaimed the life I had lost in those first 5 years inside of my marriage and aligned my responses to who I was, to my character, instead of reacting based on how someone else was making me feel. Not only did my decisions save our marriage, but after taking time to focus on myself, I finally had the confidence to know who I was with or without him, which allowed me to express my needs and desires with confidence. I became the best version of myself while in the same relationship that I thought was making me the worst. But most importantly, by doing the inner work on myself, I'm no longer dependent on something outside of myself to meet all my needs and fulfill my every desire and give me meaning and purpose. And when we change, the people in our life will have a choice to either rise to our level or drown in their own dysfunction. My husband rose to my level and then some. I have the intimacy I have always dreamed of, where I feel fully known and fully loved. I cherish the relationship that my husband and I have built together, but I don't need it or him in order to be okay. I'm in my marriage because I want to be, not because I need to be. We now share a mutual love and respect inside of our marriage that I never thought was possible. And I want you to have that too.
So let's talk about the three major mistakes everyone makes when they're trying to get their marriage on track. And notice I said everyone. This is not to make you feel bad. Nothing is wrong with you if you see yourself inside of these mistakes. Plus, you're here today so that you can start using a proven strategy instead of continuing to repeat these mistakes. So, mistake number one is do nothing in hopes that time will make everything better. This is where you avoid difficult conversations to keep the peace and pretend everything is okay when you're dying inside. I get it. Everyone knows there's no such thing as a perfect marriage, so it's easy to view a rough patch as a season that will simply pass with time. But this is not only costing you precious time that you can never get back, it's also building resentment and bitterness. A lot of people think once the kids are out of the house that there will be time to work on their marriage. But by then, many find they're living with a complete stranger and look back on all the wasted years and wonder what it was all for. Once bitterness and resentment enter your heart, they change everything about you. Not only how you interact inside of your relationship, but how you feel and interact with everyone around you. If you keep doing nothing, nothing will change. If you want something different, you're going to have to do something different. And that's what makes you different from everyone else. You are here because you are an action taker. You're not willing to sit by and simply allow life to happen to you. Mistake number two is marriage books, videos, seminars, and retreats. We were marriage book junkies. We read them all. There's some great stuff in there. And they say knowledge is power, right? So we think that if we can just absorb as much information as possible, something's bound to stick and change our situation. And those marriage retreats, oh, they give you so much hope and get you thinking that you can do it on your own when you get home. But then you get home and all of those communication techniques you learned go out the window. It can be so frustrating spending all of that time and money only to feel like something must be wrong with you because what seemed so easy inside of a book or seminar suddenly feels like it only works for other people. It turns out you can have a head full of knowledge, but if you don't know what to do with it and what situations to apply it to, it's worthless. Plus, when there's so much information and advice out there, it can feel overwhelming. And when we get overwhelmed, guess what we tend to do? Nothing. And when you're not doing anything on a consistent basis, you aren't going to see the benefits to any marriage book or retreat. When you have a proven system with a plan, you won't get paralyzed with overwhelm. You'll know exactly what steps to take each day. Mistake number three, couples counseling. Let's be honest. This is usually one partner dragging the other partner in with hopes that the therapist can fix them. I'm embarrassed to admit that's exactly what I did. I thought, if he could just have someone other than me tell him all the things that he's doing wrong, maybe he'll realize he's the problem. And maybe your intentions were better than mine, and you were hoping that the therapist could act as a mediator to help you both communicate better. No matter which strategy you go in with, you ultimately want this neutral party to not be neutral and confirm that you are the good one and your spouse is the problem. But if that happens, or even if it's perceived that that's what's happening, you could end up more disconnected than you were prior to the session. Some of our worst fights happened after we left a therapy session together. And that would result in more problems along with more wasted time and money. When you begin taking responsibility for your actions and strive to be the best version of yourself, your life will no longer be determined by someone else's behavior. It will be guided by your character and values. Barbara came to me feeling resentful of her husband for the hurt he had caused her in their 30-year marriage. They had tried everything to get back on track, and nothing seemed to be working. When she first started working with me, she wasn't even sure if she wanted to stay in her marriage. She just wanted to get her confidence back so that she felt strong enough to be on her own. After just 5 weeks, she sent me this message: Best decision I've ever made. I've learned more from you in 5 weeks than I learned in 3 years of marriage counseling. In addition to sharing client testimonials, I also wanted to provide you with some text exchanges my husband and I have had in recent months. Remember, just a few short years ago, we were on the verge of divorce. These are just a handful of the interactions that I found as I scrolled through our messages. The first one was a text I received out of the blue in the middle of the day saying how lucky and blessed he is to have me as his wife. In the next one, I was having a rough day and reached out to him. He didn't try to fix it. He just validated my feelings and let me know that he has my back. And the last one was something I forwarded to him that talked about how much I treasure the friendship we have now. My marriage is living proof that this can be done, but you won't make any progress without a system in place. Before I dig into the specifics, I want to give you a bird's eye view of the framework we will be going over today. You'll see that all 4 steps begin with the prefix RE because each step will help you reignite the spark in your marriage while you reclaim your life and rediscover the renewed, confident version of you. So, step 1 is reconnect to your heart. We were made for love and connection. That's why we'll choose to be connected in a dysfunctional relationship instead of being alone and detached. So, the first step is to get you reconnected with yourself, to see yourself through the eyes of compassion, and to get in touch with what's going on inside of you, specifically your thoughts and emotions. Most advice about relationships talks about ways for couples to connect, but leaves out the fact that unresolved trauma causes people to become totally disconnected from themselves. And when we're disconnected from ourselves, we develop unrealistic expectations for our partner to fulfill all of our unmet needs from our past. Society sends the message that we're incomplete without a partner. So when we find someone, we hold on to the illusion that we will finally be seen, heard, and unconditionally loved. But when this fantasy doesn't come true, we often think working on the relationship means sacrificing our needs in the process, which only results in us getting more disconnected from our true selves. We begin to forget who we are, what we like, or even what makes us happy. We get so busy taking care of everyone else's needs that we don't think to pause and try to understand what's going on inside of ourselves. When you get reconnected with yourself, you're able to notice your thoughts, feel your emotions, observe your tendencies, and become curious about the origins of your habitual patterns and cycles without self-criticism and blame. There's a reason you think the way you think and feel the way you feel. And once you notice your thoughts and emotions without judgment, it allows you to ask questions and become curious with questions like, when did I start having these thoughts or feelings about myself, my spouse, my marriage? Is the way I'm expressing, withholding, or ignoring my emotions what I saw my parents doing in their relationship? Or is this anger I'm feeling? Or am I really feeling scared, sad, or lonely? This level of self-awareness can break a lot of toxic cycles and start to change the way that you do relationships because you can begin to recognize the role that you're playing inside of them. Being able to take ownership empowers us to change our future. Most of the time, our primary goal is to have a better relationship or to be a better wife. In fact, there's a good chance that was your goal in even attending this masterclass. When we adopt this mentality, though, we're essentially viewing ourselves as a problem to be fixed. Imagine if you had a new friend who always focused on wanting to fix you. So every time you go out to coffee or every time you talk to them, they're constantly trying to fix you. Think about how exhausting that would be and how misunderstood and disconnected you would feel. That's ultimately what we're doing to ourselves when we have the mentality that there's something wrong with us or that we're broken and need to be fixed. We end up partnering with shame and morphing into what we believe others expect us to be. Many of us were raised in an environment steeped in shame, where our behaviors were intricately tied to our sense of self. If our actions were deemed good, then we were labeled a good girl. If we behaved in ways that were not good, then we were labeled a bad girl. This conditioning causes us to believe that love and connection are contingent on constantly striving to do more. And since this is what was modeled for us, we grow up thinking that shaming ourselves will keep us doing the good or right thing. But instead, it prevents us from having a healthy relationship with both ourselves and our partners. If you've been putting your needs on the back burner in an effort to be a good wife or a good mom, you've disconnected with yourself. And until you can get reconnected and know what you are truly thinking and feeling and acknowledge what your needs really are, you certainly aren't going to be able to communicate those needs with your partner. Prior to joining my program, Sarah was having trouble finding the motivation to even get out of bed each day. Her marriage of 24 years was dying, and she felt dead inside as well. After completing just the first module in my renewed program, she came to our session telling me that she experienced more peace and motivation than she had in years. Something that she wasn't able to achieve for a year and a half on her own happened in just days because she let herself into my world for support. This is the power of a proven program, one on one mentorship, and accountability, and just how quickly things can change for you once you're brave enough to do something different because you're ready for different results in your life. So, step 2 is reveal the underlying wound. Once we can connect with ourselves and remain curious about what's going on inside of us, we can begin to reflect on where some of the more painful emotions and triggered reactions are coming from. Chances are you've been attributing all of your pain, all of your sadness, loneliness, and hopelessness to your current situation and the current state of your relationship. Maybe even blaming your partner for all of the hurt that you've been experiencing. But there's a good chance some of the issues you have with your partner stem from the wounds that you incurred from unhealthy relationships from your past, whether with a parent or someone else who disappointed you. Our relationships are a magnifying glass to the wounds of our past that we haven't healed from yet. When we find ourselves triggered by our partner's words or actions, it's often because we have a limiting belief about ourselves that serves as a landing pad for something outside of us. Let me give you an example. If my husband starts complaining that I don't do enough around the house, and I have a wound from my past that has caused me to believe that I'm not enough, then his words have a landing pad to fall on. Since there's a part of me that believes that about myself, I'll be more likely to respond with defensiveness and anger because a deeper, unresolved wound from the past is subconsciously surfacing in that moment. Now, I'll give you another scenario. Suppose my husband starts criticizing me because of my purple hair. Well, that's not going to land anywhere. I might be wearing a purple shirt, but I don't have purple hair. It's clear that what he's saying doesn't have anything to do with me. In fact, something must be wrong with him if he thinks that my hair is purple. People can't make you feel a certain way. When they trigger you, it's revealing what's already inside of you. Triggers are like hidden buttons that, when pressed, bring forth intense emotions that catch you off guard. They ultimately help us identify limiting beliefs we have about ourselves and empower us to fulfill that need within ourselves so we aren't dependent on others to do that. So many of us come into our marriages subconsciously expecting our spouse to complete us and heal all of the wounds that we have, but instead, they open up our wounds. If we need our partners to do and say certain things in order to confirm that we are loved or worthy or good enough, we're giving them all of the power in the relationship. And powerlessness leads to resentment because we believe they owe us something that we can't get from them. But the truth is, they don't know how to give it to us because of their own brokenness and pain. If you didn't have a wound or unmet needs, you wouldn't trigger. If your partner didn't have a wound or unmet needs, they wouldn't trigger. Triggers seem like a negative thing because they don't feel good. But imagine if you couldn't feel pain. If you put your hand on a hot surface and your brain didn't tell you that it was hurting, then you could melt your hand off. Whether we are experiencing physical pain or emotional pain, the messages that the brain receives in those moments are there to help us. Our brains are constantly trying to protect us from anything that causes discomfort. Eating healthy food when there's junk food readily available, getting out of bed when the alarm goes off in the morning, or going to church on a cold and rainy day. Your brain will tell you all of the reasons why you don't want to do those things because it feels uncomfortable. So, in order to enjoy a healthy lifestyle, you have to essentially retrain your brain. If you started an exercise program after months or years of being sedentary, you'd experience a lot of discomfort and pain. In fact, if you didn't know that working out was good for you, you might actually think that you were causing harm to yourself. But since you know that it's good for you, that it improves heart health and decreases cholesterol and increases your strength and stamina, since you know all of the long term benefits, you're able to endure the temporary discomfort. If you use that same analogy with your triggered emotions, it's much easier to push through the discomfort, knowing the long term gain. Triggers are both opportunities and invitations for personal growth and emotional well being. They essentially highlight areas where you can bring love and compassion to yourself and your past experiences to ultimately foster connection, healing, and transformation in your life and marriage. So, why do most people avoid this? Let's be honest. It's easier to blame our spouse for all of the pain and disappointment we're experiencing in our marriage. But just like triggers, I want to teach you to see blame in a different light as well. We often experience blame when we have shame. Maybe you feel shame for not having the marriage you've always dreamed of, or the marriage others still think you have. Maybe you feel shame for tolerating disrespect, emotional abuse, or even infidelity from your spouse. We shame ourselves because we think it will prevent us from repeating those same mistakes in the future. But those feelings of shame are so uncomfortable that we then blame to offload the pain of our shame. Picture your shame like a hot potato. When we don't want to feel the pain of our shame as it comes up, we quickly pass it off to someone else. Blame offers a mild sense of relief, just like getting rid of the hot potato. The problem with blame is that when we're busy blaming others, we leave ourselves hurting and neglected. Blame never helps us heal. It only keeps us from realizing that the pain is coming from inside of us, not outside of us. Brittany fell into that trap. She felt like the victim of her emotionally abusive husband, blaming him for all of the problems in their relationship. She used to feel like she was walking on eggshells in her home and was too ashamed to tell anyone. After she started seeing those triggered moments as opportunities to interrupt the familiar pattern in her house, she started seeing a change almost immediately. She said, "I feel seen and heard for the first time in my life. I used to think my husband had no sense of humor, but now we joke around all the time. The air used to feel so heavy in our house, and now it's so much lighter. It's like a weight has been lifted." Step 3 is repair your faulty belief system. Beliefs start to take shape at a very young age when our developing brains try to make sense of the world around us. We form beliefs about God, the nature of men and women, how to express emotions, and where to seek fulfillment for our needs. Once a belief has been established in our minds, our brains will instinctively seek evidence to prove it. It's our brain's way of trying to protect us. However, many of the beliefs that we formed as children no longer serve us well as adults. In fact, they often hinder our personal growth and hinder our ability to build healthy relationships. Maybe you've developed some of these beliefs along the way. I'm not good enough, or I'm too much. I'm not worthy. I must sacrifice my needs to prove my worth. No matter what I do, it's never enough. Or I'm not lovable. These beliefs likely originated to protect you from pain, but they are no longer serving you and are negatively influencing your choices and behaviors. So we need to repair the wound that led you to adopt that belief system in the first place. So many women recognize that they attract a certain type of man because of the relationship that they had with their fathers. But they stop there because they don't know how to heal that belief system. Maybe you've gone to counseling and talked it out with a therapist, or maybe you've tried to replace the lies you've believed with the truth you see in scripture. The problem with both of those approaches is that it's only focusing on logic. And logic can't heal the experience that you went through that formed that belief in the first place. So you'll keep repeating what you don't repair over and over, even if you have a head full of really good truth. To reach a place of healing and connection, it's essential to challenge these beliefs because in reality, your beliefs hold a significant influence over your life. They shape your decision making, your behavior, and the way that you interact with the world. What you believe about men, women, relationships, and yourself manifests in your thoughts, actions, and behaviors.
Think of it like a tree. Your experiences serve as the roots. These are the interactions that you've had throughout your life with your parents or caregivers, teachers, coaches, mentors, friends, and relationship partners. All of those experiences have shaped you into the person that you are today because each of those experiences formed your belief systems about life and what you believe to be true about yourself, relationships, marriage, and religion. Your belief systems form the sturdy trunk of your tree of life, and it's supported by years of experience that has served to solidify those beliefs. What we hold as truth about ourselves, God, the world, and relationships then extends to the branches that represent our feelings, which give rise to the smaller branches that shape our thoughts. From our thoughts come all of our words and actions, the leaves and the fruit. When we picture all of those components in this way, it's easy to see how important our beliefs are to the health of the rest of our tree. Until we address the core experiences that formed those beliefs, we'll find ourselves producing the same fruit over and over again, year after year. Your beliefs ultimately govern all of your decisions, what career path you choose, where you live, the ways that you show up or shut down. Your beliefs even grant others permission to treat you in specific ways because your convictions dictate and determine the love and respect or lack of love and respect that you receive in your life. We don't have the power to change other people, but we do have the power to affect our belief systems that have become a landing pad for others. Before we can change those beliefs, though, we need to heal the pain by encountering new experiences that can bring love and compassion into that wounded place in your heart. I want to provide you with a glimpse of what that might look like.
Take a moment to sit back in your chair and maybe close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you. Begin to draw your awareness to your breath. Breathe in and out. Give yourself this gift of just being still as you notice the gentle rhythm of your breath. And as you begin to relax, I invite you to place your hands on your heart and ask yourself, what's one thing that you've believed about yourself for a really long time? Maybe, no matter what I do, it's never enough. Or, I'm not worthy. Something is wrong with me. I'm not enough. I'm too much. You may notice that more than one is resonating with you, but I want you to focus on the one that has been with you the most throughout your life. Now, allow yourself to become curious and ask your heart, when was the first time you remember feeling this way? How old were you? What was happening that caused you to start believing that? Picture that younger version of yourself and view her as you would your own child if they were hurting. See her with compassion and love. What did she need in that moment? Perhaps she needed to just be seen or heard, or maybe she needed to be held and comforted and told she was enough and that there was nothing wrong with her. Imagine your current self walking up to that little girl and giving her what she needed. We often abandon the younger versions of ourselves and leave them alone in their pain while we go on with our lives trying to control our environment, our performance, our physical appearance, all in an effort to be good enough so that we can feel worthy of the love and affection we're so desperately craving. So many of us in Western culture, especially, didn't feel like we could express our emotions as children. Maybe you were sent to your room if you were emotional, or if you're like me, you heard, stop crying, or I'll give you something to cry about. If we didn't experience compassion and love in the midst of pain when we were younger, we'll create unhealthy belief systems and a negative bias to which we see the world. We'll grow up thinking that if we express pain, that love will be withheld and we'll be forced into isolation. We come to think that experiencing intense emotions means we're emotionally unstable. So we learn to judge our emotions as either good or bad without realizing how much influence that belief system has had over our lives. A year after Caitlin divorced her third husband, she came to the humble realization that she was the common denominator in all of her failed relationships. She wanted to go through my program so that she could understand how her limiting beliefs were impacting her adult life. When I took her through some of the exercises, she had such incredible breakthroughs that she wrote this review. I've consulted with several psychologists in the past, but Michelle stands out as the first person who truly helped me get to the root of my self beliefs and provided effective methods for overcoming them. So the final step is redefine your standards. Once you understand that you have the ability within you to bring healing and comfort to those wounded parts of your heart, you will no longer look to your partner to meet all of your unspoken needs and expectations in order for you to be okay. You'll start showing up differently, and you'll be empowered to set new expectations for yourself and your relationship. Chances are you've been unknowingly operating with an unhealthy belief system that has resulted in triggered emotions and reactions that are preventing you from having the life and relationship you want for yourself. You didn't consciously choose this environment or lifestyle. In fact, you probably got your only lessons about being in a relationship by watching your parents. The problem with that is that they likely knew less about relationships than you do. You never had a class in high school or college that taught you how to understand your emotions or what to expect in a relationship or how to even behave in one. No one ever taught you what to do when things went wrong. In fact, if you think about it, no one even taught you how to define what wrong was. Once you begin to understand how your past wounds and limiting beliefs have been influencing your behaviors, you can more easily recognize the role you have played in either permitting, eliciting, or enabling the dysfunction to continue. If you're in a dysfunctional relationship with another person, chances are it's because you have a dysfunctional relationship with yourself. What you believe about yourself and the way you treat yourself teaches others what you're willing to accept. So if you're always putting yourself last and neglecting your needs, don't be surprised when those around you follow suit and treat you the same way. But once your eyes are open to this reality and you're able to identify the wounds you came into your relationship with and repair the limiting beliefs that are no longer serving you, you will be empowered to set new standards for the way that you show up in your relationship. Now, let me be clear. I realize that it takes two to tango, but if you are able to change yourself, if you are able to create a different lifestyle and environment in which your relationship takes place, you are able to regain your own power and reclaim your right to dignity and respect. When you change the entire balance of the relationship equation. You can't control your partner. You can't make changes for your partner. You can't tell your partner what to do, but you can inspire your partner. You can give your partner a whole new set of behaviors and stimuli to respond to. If you're able to see both yourself and your spouse as a wounded child instead of a needy or selfish adult, you can stop sabotaging yourself and your relationship and begin modeling and inspiring the kind of reactions you want from your partner. Your partner may withdraw and be suspicious for a while, but eventually he's going to feel pretty stupid sitting over there in the corner while you continue to grow in your personal satisfaction, confidence, and self worth. At the very least, whatever happens, you will enjoy a peace that comes from knowing that you are doing everything you can to breathe life into this relationship. Instead of celebrating their 10-year anniversary, Sharon and her husband were discussing separation. They stopped communicating altogether after most of their conversations turned into arguments about him going out all the time. After completing the Renewed program, she said, "When I let go of the bitterness and started focusing on what I could control, it didn't take long for Tom to notice. He stopped going out and spends more time with me and the kids. We're not only enjoying each other's company, but we're even having fun doing it."
So let's go over what you've learned today. The 3 mistakes to avoid. Don't assume it will get better with time. Time alone doesn't make things better. It just starts to make you bitter. And no one wants to be around a bitter woman. Don't overwhelm yourself and your partner with every marriage book and course you can get your hands on. Instead, follow a proven system that provides guidance and support each step of the way so you don't get overwhelmed. And finally, don't waste precious time and money on couples therapy just to have someone on your side while drawing a deeper wedge between you and your spouse. So, the 4-step framework to resuscitate your dying marriage and reclaim the life you lost inside of it starts with reconnecting to your heart, then revealing the underlying wound, repairing your faulty belief system, and finally redefining your standards. This 4-step framework is not just a bunch of theory. It's been tested and proven to work by me and countless other women just like you. If you take one thing away, I want you to know you can have the life and relationship of your dreams without feeling bitter and resentful that you're the only one doing all the work. I've developed a 4-step framework that makes it easy to reclaim the life you've lost inside of your marriage, and I've outlined that method for you today. So the big question is, how can you apply this framework so that you can have a life and relationship that is filled with joy and fulfillment? Well, choice 1, you can waste tons of time and effort trying to figure it out with book smart Brandon, who has lots of knowledge but no personal experience getting to the top of this mountain. Or choice 2, you can fast track your results with my Renewed program and allow me to be your guide to help you every step of the way. So, I want to give you a bird's eye view of what you're going to learn inside of this program. In phase 1, you'll reconnect to your heart. In this section, we're going to cover how to get reconnected with your needs and wants so that you aren't reliant on someone else in order for you to be okay. You'll develop self-awareness practices that allow you to get connected with your thoughts and emotions without self-judgment. And you'll confront shame and learn to treat yourself with compassion while inspiring others to do the same. And then you'll identify the desires of your heart, your core needs, ones that were unmet in the past and ones that you require moving forward. In phase 2, you'll reveal the underlying wound. In this section, you'll learn how the unhealed wounds from your past have caused you to place unrealistic expectations on your partner to fulfill your needs and heal your pain. You'll uncover the root experiences that have shaped your belief system. You'll learn to recognize and navigate emotional triggers influencing your relational dynamics. And you'll begin to embrace triggers as a check engine light for your heart that lead to self-discovery, growth, and healing. In phase 3, you'll repair your faulty belief system. In this section, we'll uncover the secrets to repairing your belief system so that you can become the self-assured, confident woman that you were created to be. You'll heal and reassess the limiting beliefs that are no longer serving you. You'll train your brain to focus on what you want instead of fearing what you don't. And incorporate a self-coaching model into your life to combat negative beliefs and mindsets from re-entering your life. Finally, in phase 4, you'll redefine your standards. In this section, you'll learn how to set new standards for yourself and your relationship so that your daily interactions and responses are no longer governed by other people and circumstances, but are instead aligned with your convictions and values. You'll discover the freedom and joy of being connected to your authentic self without attaching your worth to your relationship status or other people's expectations. You'll assess the state of your relationship and confidently redefine your standards and expectations for both yourself and your partner. And finally, you'll craft a clear path forward that aligns your beliefs and actions with the authentic and fulfilling life you desire. So I have a few bonuses today. The first bonus is called Relationship Reality Check. Take the blinders off and gain crystal clear clarity on the good, the bad, the ugly, and the in-between with this thorough relationship inventory workbook. Identify overlooked red flags, assess whether your relationship is even worth saving, and pinpoint actionable steps to halt dysfunctional patterns. The next bonus is Connect and Reflect Guided Meditation Library. Unlock the power of self-discovery and emotional healing with these carefully crafted meditations designed to support your personal growth and well-being. You'll be led by me in these immersive sessions that blend mindfulness practices with memory reconsolidation exercises, offering peace, clarity, and renewal whenever you need it most. These will be available at your fingertips, and these sessions will serve as your trusted companion on your journey, allowing you to receive guided support as often as you'd like for faster healing and deeper connection. You'll also receive weekly live coaching calls. Join me for our weekly live coaching calls where you'll have the opportunity for personalized support and guidance. These sessions offer a dedicated space for direct interaction, allowing me to address your personal questions one-on-one and provide tailored assistance to help you navigate your journey effectively. And by enrolling today, you'll receive an additional 10 weeks of access to these coaching sessions for a total of 20 weeks. The renewed connections and community valued at $1,200. If you need an extra layer of accountability, gain 24/7 access to our vibrant course community. Because let's face it, nothing feels lonelier than navigating these challenges alone. In our network of like-minded women, find solace in shared experiences among fellow students and alumni who truly understand the journey you're on. And next, year-long access. Gain unlimited access to all of the course modules, resources, and updates for a full year so that you can go through the content at your own pace and revisit key lessons and insights whenever you need a refresher or a boost of inspiration. Now, finally, I do have a fast acting bonus. These are 2 individual one-on-one sessions. So if you're seeking more personalized support, you can take advantage of this exclusive fast acting bonus where you can have access to 2 private one-on-one sessions with me. You'll have the flexibility to schedule these sessions at your convenience, allowing us to focus directly on your unique needs and goals. And these will only be available when I open the cart for 15 minutes. When you sign up for all of this that is valued at $10,000, you'll be able to get started immediately. And you can get started right now for just $397. You should see an enrollment button appear on the left of this video if you're on the desktop, or below the video if you're on a handheld device. So, in addition to sharing client testimonials, I wanted to provide you with a few more text exchanges my husband and I have had in recent months. In these text exchanges, he talks about how meaningful our conversations are and how he's so in love with the woman that I have become. The last one was actually after a disagreement, and he takes ownership for his role in contributing to the issues that we were having. These are texts I never thought that I would receive from this man. Now, this program does come with a 30-day guarantee, and that means that you have 30 days to try out the program, implement everything, and if you are not 100% satisfied, if you can honestly say that it did not add any value to your life, then simply contact our service support and we will issue you with a prompt and courteous refund. Again, in order to get the results like these students that you saw earlier, you need to make sure that you're doing the work. If you do the work and you don't get the results though, that's on me and I will make it right. So once you click over to the sales page, you're going to be able to select your plan. We have 3 monthly payments of $397 or one full payment of $997. Now, I recommend the full payment just because you're able to save a little bit of money, but if you are not able to make that work, then the easy payment plan is the way to go. So today's package includes all of these resources, everything that you see on the screen, all designed to help you get the best results in the shortest amount of time. You'll get 24/7 access to the course community, weekly coaching calls for the next 20 weeks, and if you sign up in the next 15 minutes, you will also receive 2 additional one-on-one sessions as well. Plus, you'll have access to all of the content inside of the portal for an entire year. So I'm going to go ahead and start the timer. Here we go. And again, if you want the fast acting bonus, you will want to be sure to sign up in the next 15 minutes. The timer is going. And during that time, I'm going to just go over some frequently asked questions. So the first question is the program only for people who are married? Now, while this particular masterclass was geared more specifically toward married women, I also work with women who are single, separated, divorced, and widowed, who have felt that they've lost touch with their true selves somewhere along the way, and who ultimately want to have loving and supportive relationships in their life. I actually started this program specifically for divorced women because it's often during that season that women realize just how much they gave of themselves in an effort to have the marriage and family that they always dreamed of. I've been divorced and I remember that season all too well. I've also been a single mom. I've been separated. I've been unhappily married. So I can relate with each of those seasons of life. And I've incorporated the emotions that I experienced during those seasons and the insights that I gained into the development of this program. The next one, is there a way that I can do weekly one-on-one coaching sessions with you? So my one-on-one coaching packages that take you through my program start at $4,000. So if that is inside of your budget and you would like to do that, it's definitely an option. The accountability and intimacy of a one-on-one relationship can definitely enhance your experience. So if this is something that you're interested in, you'll just want to reach out to me privately if you want more information on that. I'm offering this program to you today at a much more affordable rate so that more people can take advantage of it. That was my motivation for doing this. Is it an investment? Yes, it is. It's an investment in yourself. I know some of you on this call have never invested in yourself. So this is huge. I get it. I used to be in your shoes. I can't tell you how much I wish someone would have offered me this opportunity, though, prior to my separation. That 18-month separation cost us over $25,000 due to having separate residences. If we had followed through on a divorce, the attorney fees alone would have cost me close to that as well. So when you compare throwing away $50,000 to end up divorced versus less than $1,000 to have hope and purpose, I think it's a no-brainer. Being a coach has taught me the importance of investing in coaching and investing in myself and my continual self-discovery and growth. In the past 12 months alone, I've invested over $15,000 in coaching programs. So I'm not asking you to do something I haven't done myself. I'm offering you an opportunity that has the potential to change the entire trajectory of your life. Your healing and growth not only impacts you, but it also impacts everyone around you. This isn't just about investing in yourself. It's about breaking the cycles so that your children don't have to suffer in the same ways that you have. It's about showing them something different so that they can share that with their children and grandchildren. I did the math once. Even if this program only helped you for the next year, the investment would be just $2.74 a day. But I know that this will benefit you and your family for decades to come. So let's say that for some reason the benefits stopped at 30 years. Your investment would be under 10 cents a day to change the trajectory of your life and your family's life. So the next question, can you explain what the meditation library is all about? Yeah. So some people get a little uncomfortable by the word meditation, and I understand because I used to be one of them. I've never been one to sit still for long periods of time, and the idea of clearing my mind has always been a foreign concept to me. So when I say meditation, I'm not talking about clearing your mind or achieving some type of out of body experience. I'm mainly talking about mindfulness exercises, which essentially provide you with the opportunity to be still for just a couple minutes so that you can become more self aware. Remember how we talked about that we can't make changes to our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs if we're not even sure what they are, right? So, mindfulness is a tool to help you get more connected with yourself and to be able to use breathing exercises to calm down your nervous system, even if it's just for a couple minutes. I've seen the benefits of breath work and mindfulness exercises. And by providing these guided meditations, you'll be able to incorporate those practices into your healing journey. Plus, some of the tools that I'll be providing you with throughout the course are much more effective when you can be led through the process and practice them on your own. So similar to the brief section in my training today, where I had you connect with some of your limiting beliefs and then recall a memory that led you to believe that. While I can demonstrate some of those tools with you in our weekly coaching calls, you may not be in the right space to fully engage at that time. So by providing you with this resource, you'll be able to have that same guidance in videos that you can access throughout the week whenever you need them and when you are ready to participate in those exercises, or even just to give you additional practice. Through this program, you'll be learning new concepts and new tools. So the more that you're able to practice, the easier it will be for you to incorporate those things into your life. And then the faster you will start seeing results. Okay, next one, what all is included? So everything that you see on the screen right now is what is included. So there's instructional videos, the guided meditation videos that I just talked about, practical exercises, worksheets, thoughtful reflection prompts, and all of these are designed specifically to help you get the best results in the shortest amount of time. When you enroll today, you'll get immediate access to an exclusive membership portal where all of the course material is stored, and you can access the resources through your preferred browser on either your desktop, laptop, tablet, or phone, making it super easy to incorporate it into your busy life. You'll receive 24/7 access to the VIP course community, and you'll be eligible to attend live weekly coaching calls with me each week. Next one, when will I have access to the course and all of the content? So if you sign up today, you will have immediate access to the first module of the course. And then 2 weeks from the date that you sign up, I'll provide you with the next module so that you can pace yourself and just focus on one module at a time. I actually do this same thing with my one-on-one clients. One of the reasons that I do this is so that you don't get distracted by seeing the entire course all at once. When I was in college, I would always get overwhelmed on the very first day of class when the professor was going over the entire syllabus and all that was coming up. And I certainly don't want that to happen to you. So I'm committed to you getting results and taking each module as it comes. The key to getting the most out of this program is to give yourself time to focus, process, and reflect on each new concept before moving ahead to the next one. But to answer the question, if you claim this offer today, you will receive the first module right away, along with all of the bonuses. Okay, so next one is how much time will this take me? So I have set it up so that you can finish each module in about 2 weeks by spending an average of about 10 to 15 minutes a day, or a little over an hour each week. However, you will have access to everything inside of the program, including the bonuses, for an entire year. So you can go through it at whatever pace works best for you and your schedule. So the time that you choose to devote to it is entirely up to you. Next one, can't I just figure this out on my own? Well, not if you want results quickly. It took me over 5 years to figure it out on my own. And that's why I created this program, to help eliminate the guesswork and stop wasting precious time. Consider this program your fast track pass. How much time have you spent so far? Every day that you continue living like this, you're slowly dying inside. Can you afford to go another 5 years like this? Look, here's the reality. If you don't make this investment in your future, it will be all too easy to just go back to doing the same things you've been doing and just hoping that something works. This is essentially the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing and expecting different results. It just doesn't work that way. If you continue doing the same things you've always done, you'll end up with the same results you've always had. If you're in a place where you feel resentful, hopeless, and frustrated, you'll just get more of the same if something doesn't change. And if you show up inside of your relationship resentful, hopeless, and frustrated, your relationship isn't going to get any better. It will only get worse. And if it gets worse, divorce could be inevitable. And while you may be currently contemplating divorce, I know that that's not what you really want. You don't want to deal with the shame and embarrassment that brings. You don't want to put your kids through that. You don't want to attend your children's graduations and weddings without their father by your side. You don't want to lose friendships that the two of you have shared with other couples throughout your time together. I know you don't want all of those consequences that ultimately come with divorce. And if you've already been down that path before, you know that those consequences last for decades. And I know that you don't want to go through that. This may come as a surprise, but divorce doesn't magically change the feelings of resentment or hopelessness or frustration or despair. For a lot of women, it only enhances those emotions and makes them worse. I've encountered my share of bitter women who have been divorced for 5, 10, and even 20 years. And if you're still here, I know that you don't want that to be you. But ultimately, it's your choice. Keep doing what you've been doing and hope that something works, or start implementing a proven system that will transform your life and your relationship. The choice is yours. But before you can decide what kind of life you want, you have to decide the type of person that you want to be. And making that decision is the first step. All right. How long will it take me to complete this course and see results? So most students complete the entire program in 8 to 10 weeks. There are 4 modules that each take about 2 weeks to complete on average. And, we know that life happens, right? So if something comes up that slows you down, or if you want to spend more time in a particular module before moving on, you will still have access to the community and the live sessions for the next 5 months. So You'll have all of the content and support throughout that entire time. And as for how quickly you get results, well, that's entirely up to you. I've had students see results in as little as 2 weeks, but I can't guarantee how long it will take you because it's up to you to do the work and complete the program and implement what you have learned. So last question that I have 30 seconds left. What happens if I fall behind? So like I said, you will have access to the course for a full year, so you can complete the material at your own pace. And the nice thing about that is that um, it entitles you to any and all updates that I add to the program at no additional charge. As I receive feedback or come across something that I really want to include, I'll definitely be doing whatever I can to ensure that you are getting the best resources that I can provide. All right, so the time is up. And I just want to thank you so much for joining me in this masterclass. And I hope to see you inside of the course.